was a kid, I loved Herbie the Love Bug. It was my favorite character and franchise by far, and I still love Herbie to this day. The movies are a testament to great storytelling and how you can make an audience fall in love with something that isn't human. In this case, Herbie is a car. He doesn't talk or anything, but he helps the humans that own him. When I was young, one of the things I always obsessed over was Herbie in the theme parks. And believe it or not, Herbie has a rich legacy in the parks.
Hey everyone, let me tell you about Entertainment Earth. So are you looking for the best way to buy specifically Funko Pops, let's say? Well, I go to entertainmentearth.com because they have the best selection of Funko Pops. They have old and new arrivals. Plus they have some great products by Hasbro, Mattel, Loungefly. And they have the Pops, like I said, as well. And the action figures, the statues, the Transformers, the magnets, the vinyl figures, prop replicas. And the big driving point for me is to get this stuff, maybe even before it's out, but as soon as it's released. And this site has the best selection when it comes to new items. So next time you're looking for Funko Pops, be sure to go over to entertainmentearth.com. and use offer code BBDIZ on your first purchase. This offer is for in-stock items only, but be sure to use code BBDIZ to let them know I sent you. Anyway, back to the video.
Our story begins before the Volkswagen Beetle was cast for the role. On casting day, Disney had a bunch of cars parked outside the studio parking lot, like Toyotas and Volvos. The producers of the film would watch people's reaction toward the cars, and people seemed to like the Volkswagen Beetle the best. After the car was chosen, his number, 53, was chosen for the car as well. This number was chosen by Bill Walsh, who was a fan of the Dodgers pitcher Don Drysdale. The first movie to feature Herbie, the Love Bug, came out on March 12, 1969, and became the second highest grossing film of that year. On that same day, a Love Bug Day took place at Disneyland. Love Bug Day brought hundreds of Volkswagen Beetles creatively dressed up in a variety of ways to the parking lot of Disneyland. A parade was held during the day, and a winner was presented at the end of the parade. The winner also won a full-size Herbie. Morton and Barbara Allen from Studio City, California won the Herbie and were given the keys by Dean Jones himself, who played Jim Douglas in the film. In the grand opening of Walt Disney World TV special, Buddy Hackett appeared in a race at Tomorrowland Speedway, and Herbie was the car he raced in. Another Herbie Day was held at Disneyland in 1974. Was held to promote Herbie Rides Again, and was held on June 30th, 1974. On that day, a TV special was shot, later aired in July 1974. Keenan Wynn and Helen Haynes were present. This actor and actress both star in Herbie Rides Again. After the success of Herbie Rides Again, Herbie quickly became present in Disneyland parades. The earliest footage I could find was from a Christmas parade in 1974. In this segment of the parade, a Volkswagen Beetle and Chip and Dale driving mini Herbies go down the streets of Disneyland. Herbie Rides Again made $38.2 million in the US, which is about $235 million today. Due to this popularity, Imagineers were brainstorming ideas in 1976 for a Love Bug attraction. Not much is known about this attraction, except for that it was going to be located in Fantasyland, and include scenes from both the Love Bug and Herbie Rides Again. From this piece of concept art, it looks like riders would ride in individual Herbies and drive up the Golden Gate Bridge, like in the movie. The concept was liked by higher-ups, but they felt Herbie was not strong enough for a whole attraction. Herbie was still present in parades though, as Disney World now had Herbie units in their parades starting in late 1977. The same Chip and Dale units were used in these early parades. Herbie was a star in yet another movie in 1980 called Herbie Goes Bananas. A segment was put into a Disneyland parade. Mini Herbies with bananas stacked on top of them, and a full-size Herbie with legs sticking out of the trunk, which is pretty terrifying. Herbie was put into Fantasy on Parade at Disneyland. One of the stunts was that the cop rode on a mini motorcycle was Herbie swallowing the cop and spitting him back out on the side door. This parade ran at Disneyland from 1980 to 1986. In 1984, the Herbie segment went to the East Coast, and now Herbie drove down Magic Kingdom streets. Herbie did stay in Disneyland, but the Fantasy on Parade stopped in 1986. Herbie and Magic Kingdom eventually stopped the cop stunt, and towards the end of the parade's run in 1988, Herbie just honked his horn and drove around. When MGM Studios opened in May 1989, Herbie greeted guests in Residential Street. He was in the driving way in one of the houses and revved his engines and popped a wheelie in front of guests. Herbie also sprayed water from his windshield wipers. He was there until the early 2000s when the car caught on fire due to the tricks he was performing. The car sustained non-repairable damage and was retired. A new resort called the All-Star Movies opened on January 15th, 1999, and included the resort areas was Herbie, the Love Bug section. The Herbie section has 384 rooms and is decorated with checkered flags, hearts, and different automobile tools. In between the resort's building there is a winner's circle, and on display is the actual Herbie from Disney World parades from 1978 to 1990. On November 9th and 10th, 2000, a fan event called Herbie Days was held at Walt Disney World. Several Herbies were able to park in front of the winner's circle for a picture. A dinner was held at Planet Hollywood since there is a screen-used Herbie from Herbie Goes Bananas used to hang from the ceiling. This Herbie later sold on December 17, 2022 for $212,500. Joaquin Gary III was present at the dinner. He played Paco in Herbie Goes Bananas. After the dinner, he took one of the Herbies for a drive. This was the first time since 1980 that he had driven a Herbie. The Herbie collectors also took two Herbies out for a cruise around Disney World. Multiple times they were stopped by fans to take pictures and talk about Herbie. In 2002, Walt Disney Studios Park opened at Disneyland Paris. On opening day, March 16th, a shop called Les Legendes de Hollywood, which translates to Hollywood Legends, opened. In the middle of the shop, a Herbie is on an elevated platform. Lights Moteurs Action Extreme Stunt Show also opened on that same day. Herbie had his own segment in the show where he would drive out to the host, greet the host and guests, and drive around the stage. A stunt would be performed where Herbie would drive under the grandstand and come back out in two pieces. This show was so successful that it eventually came to Hollywood Studios in 2005 and replaced Residential Street. The Herbie segment came with it, but this time he was also interviewed by the host. Also in 2005, Herbie Fully Loaded was released. This was the first movie since 1980 to feature Herbie. Fully Loaded did pretty well, making $144.1 million in the box office. Due to the success of the movie, he stayed in Lights Motors Action until 2011, when he was replaced by Lightning McQueen. Unfortunately, all these cars were destroyed when Lights Motors Action closed in 2016. Herbie also got a food stand called Herbie's Drive-In. It was located behind Muppet Vision 3D, and the menu had corn dogs, hot dogs, nachos, and chips. The spot got pretty good reviews when it was open. To promote the new movie, Herbie was on display for a brief time at Disneyland. Herbie was also included in Disneyland's 50th anniversary special. Many other Disney characters were included in that special, like Stitch, Mickey, Quasimodo, Genie, Donald, and Goofy, who rode in Herbie during the entrance. Some of the prop cars from Herbie Fully Loaded made their way to the backlot tour. The cars were a regular Herbie and the Herbie that is in the Demolition Derby scene, which is one of the best scenes of all time, since it's Herbie and Van Halen Jump playing. A Herbie car was also parked outside of the AFI Showcase, which was the props museum at Hollywood Studios at the end of the backlot tour. The Demolition Derby that was in Hollywood Studios is now being sold on topclassiccarsforsale.com. It is being sold in Missouri and is actually not sold yet, so if you're looking for a screen-used Herbie, there you go. Herbie has also popped in Disney World from time to time to meet and greet guests. He is a very rare character to meet today, almost impossible. The last time Herbie got some love in a Disney park was a cupcake at the world premiere food court in All-Star Movies to celebrate the Love Bug's 50th anniversary. The 53 decoration was made with white chocolate, and chocolate mousse with powdered sugar on it made the top of the cake. The cupcake itself was chocolate flavored. It was pretty good too, I remember having it. Unfortunately, All-Star Movies is really the only representation Herbie still has anywhere in the parks. This lovable bug still has fans today, and many that would love to see something in the parks, or even a movie, even though that is wishful thinking. But there it is, Herbie in the Disney parks. Listen, I really want to meet Herbie, like really bad, in Disney. I really hope that he comes back, because I've never had the opportunity to actually see a real Herbie. Like, not one that's just like screen used or in the, like, some people dress their Volkswagens up at Herbie. I've never had the pleasure to see one, but I would really want to, because Herbie was my first favorite character. He's very special to me. I went back and rewatched all the movies for this video just because I felt like it, and they all hold up still. I think what's so special about Herbie is that he's kind of like the everyday guy. Like, he's very relatable, because you see a lot of like sports cars in the movie, and this like little lovable bug that there's just something about him that you like so much, because you can kind of almost relate to him in a weird way. You kind of also like him because he's the underdog in a little bit. No one really thinks, they look at Herbie in the first movie and they kind of think this small bug, there's no way he could really be something special, and he is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. It would make me a very happy man. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Have a magical day, everybody.